Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here today with my friend Baret Tounian. Is that the right way to say it? Tounian? Here today with my friend Baret Tounian. It's echoing. Is that the right way to say it? Oh, do you have
I don't know why that's
echoing.
happening.
Is that the right way to hold on.
Is that better?
Yeah, it may be that Facebook was open.
Yes, I've now switched it off. My sincere.
We're in a time.
It's live, so nothing's edited here. Yeah, Kathy, just like from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm really flattered and honored to be in your beautiful company.
Oh my gosh.
It's fantastic.
Well, I am so excited to get to know you better. We've been friends on Facebook for I don't know how many years, 5 years or something, at least. And we both love the same people and have learned from the same people. So and you've been every once in a while you'll ding me and and I benefit so much from your perspective because what I'm seeing is that you have created a way to represent the divine masculine, this change that we're going through, because and that's not that common in a European man. No offense or anything. Well, probably not in an American man either, but the opportunity to be love and out of ego, be more connected to the soul is your path. And so I've been watching you, and it's like fascinating watching you grow and change and celebrating. I think all of us are out of balance. I'm out of balance. I've got more of my divine masculine going than my divine feminine, even though I'm a girl, because as a business owner. So anyway, so I wanted to let everyone know that about you, that there's so many opportunities to learn, even if it's from the example side of it, because just the way you are and your being really helps so many people understand a path.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I mean, I was really excited when you brought one of my great admirers. I admire Colin, and I've been a fond student. I've been his student for the last 10 years.
Yes.
So he's been such an inspiration, and the likes of Jeff Cloud, which you've had on your show as well, and the likes of Neil Donald Walsh as well. Conversation with God, communion with God. I've got all his books, and it's been so inspiring. So.
Well, I got to do the marketing plan for Humanities Team, which was a Neil Donald Walsh project. So I got to be with him many times in small group and do projects behind the scene. So yeah, I in fact, my daughter, who's pretty Christian and religious, kept saying, "Well, what books should I read to understand?" And at first I thought, well, maybe I should give her Neil Donald Walsh's books, but I just never did. I never figured out what I could have her read that would have her relate. But anyway, so let's go back to you. So Baret, you obviously have an interesting story. You live in Bulgaria.
Yes.
So how did you get there? And also I want everyone to know that you have a healing center, well, is that what you call it?
It's not a healing center yet. It's in the making.
Okay.
The process. I'm very blessed that I have a wonderful teacher here, and his name is Carmen Filipov, and he's been endorsed by the gentleman, which I hold his book.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called
Let me.
Heal Yourself Naturally Now.
Uh-huh.
And he sold over 1 million copies in Asia, and his name is Master Honchi Chow. And Carmen Filipov, I believe around about 2016, he was in. Um, well, I don't want to use the word. It was kind of like endorsed, shall we say,
Okay.
by the teacher himself. So, and I've had the privilege of not just attending a few workshops with Filippo, Carmen, but he does quite a few workshops and seminars. So and we build a very good bond. And he's probably like Jeff, like Colin, like yourselves, one of the most authentic people you'll ever meet. So they've been ever so inspiring. And yeah, so that, but coming to Bulgaria for me was the excitement was I love nature. So I lived in London many years, and London is very expensive in the sense of acquiring space. The kind of space that I wanted, was to grow my goji berries and loads of, I love growing my own herbs and spices. So one day I was just messing around on eBay, and I just found a property, and hence this is where it's being televised.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just fell in love. For me, it wasn't so much the house; it was the energy that was here. I just fell in love with it. It's just as nature intended it. It was like virgin soil. What I mean by virgin, it was like it wasn't disturbed. You didn't have the likes of Monsanto here, and
Mhm.
I was just as organic as can be with what was here. And 10 years on, yeah, I mean, we're doing rather well. We have our own space where we grow. I wouldn't call it a nursery, but particularly goji berries. So we've got such an array of plants that people come, and we're very generous at heart. We give most of it away. We don't, we live in abundance. We A lot of these plants, it doesn't cost me much, so I just enjoy giving. So and then we just show our energy, what kind of people we are in terms of good stewards, good practices. We don't use any form of chemicals on our herbs and spices. So yeah, um, so that's how
Okay,
Bulgaria.
so you were led there, obviously. I mean, for you to
Divinely,
randomly,
divinely. Mm.
wow. I saw one video, I think 6 months ago or longer, that where you were walking the property.
Hmm.
And it does look like it's just like any homeowner. There's so much to do, but
Yes, yes. It's been a bit of a working project, but we're finally getting there, and we are also looking at the prospects of creating domes. So we're really excited about that too.
so
Yeah.
those domes would be for gardening or for living.
No, actually, we're going to organize a retreat where people can come, and it gives them the opportunity to connect with Mother Earth
Perfect.
and really to chill out, to relax, to unwind, and to ask some important questions, to make a dynamic inquiry as to their presence on Mother Earth. And
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful. And how long ago was that you moved? 10 years?
we came 2009, but things didn't really take off till about 2011. So it's been about a good 10-year project. Yeah,
Wow.
and we're really excited, and we thoroughly enjoy sharing the space, and it's kind of expanding now. So we've added a bit more to the land, and so we're going to do some more renovation on the other old properties, and just have space for people to come, and we'll do some Paida Lajin workshops as well.
Okay,
So
so
it
I'm
gives
I'm excited to learn about Paida.
Paida Lajin, yeah.
Thank you,
I
thank you.
mean, excuse me. Paida is basically what you do. What I'm doing now, for example, am I clapping or am I slapping? Whatever tickles you. I mean, let's just say I'm just slapping right now, okay? So there are certain pressure points on the body. All right. So, for example, one of my favorite areas is the inner elbow here. All right. So what I do is I close my fingers like that, nice and firm. So what I want to establish here at some point, I want a little bit of perspiration and I want a little bit of heat developing here. So I clench the hands like that. And then what I do is I will rest my elbow in a comfortable position like that. And with my right hand, I'm operating my left
Oh,
arm at the
okay,
moment.
okay.
Then I will put sufficient amount of pressure here. This I will call is my heart meridian. Okay. I will talk to you in a minute reference to how much pressure should one put. If this is new to you, so I would urge everybody to initiate it from a point of like take a few baby steps. Okay. Learn to walk before you run. Get a little bit more comfortable with it. And then gradually you can start putting a little bit of pressure on that. Now, um, from this point, I've got to put a question. For me, what is Paida Lajin? It's a simple technique where you're slapping and you there is the Lajin aspect is the stretching, which I will demonstrate in a second. So when you're doing the slapping and the stretching to rejuvenate your health, it also has a self-diagnostic technique attached to it. Okay, because when I'm doing this, what in the book it explains there's a word called sha, which is spelled SHA. Sha is basically when there's like polluted blood, where the blood is poisoned, it will reveal itself. Okay. So if when I first did this, I was like, oh my goodness, it kind of looked kind of like bruised, you know,
Uh-huh.
and it was surfacing the poison blood. It was actually coming out. Okay. So that is one of the things, the experiences that you will have. And it also has a preventative nature to it as well. Because as the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. So when you're doing that, you're working on all many different levels, not just the physical. You're also working on your etheric, emotional, mental, and spiritual blockages at the same time. It sounds incredible because it's such a simple technique, very easy to navigate. The results are enormous. I mean, you will feel a warming sensation, okay, and you will feel more energized. And this is just an area that I'm using. This is my favorite area because I call this area the
Okay.
conductor of the orchestra. Because what this does, the heart meridian, it puts all the other organs into alignment. Okay, so your kidney, your spleen, your liver. So once the frequency of this gets neutralized, harmonized, your heart meridian, it kind of pushes all the other essential organs into what I call balance.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just have a little breather from that. I
Okay.
brought some.
So I want to ask a couple questions while you're stopping for a second. Okay.
Mhm,
So how long have you been doing this? I learned about this method from someone who has MS, who's
mhm.
kind of, or she looks like she almost has arthritis. She's very um, crippled, and she was really whacking. she she was. It looked like I don't want to slap my like self-flagellation kind of thing. It was really something. But are so you how were you were introduced to this by a master and saw the difference? And
Yeah.
how long does it take? Yeah, if you can give us some more overview of the healing art of it, like
Hmm.
how old it is or where it
Well,
came
the
from.
tech, yeah, I mean, the technique is thousands of years old. I mean, it was sitting, I wouldn't say dormant, particularly in the West, not so much in the East. But Master Honji Chao resurrected it, particularly for the West. And I can only speak from the perspective of Bulgaria because my teacher, Carmen Filippo, was endorsed by the master who spent quite a bit of time here in Bulgaria. So they built a very powerful bond, and he became a great advocate. But it's very important, this is one aspect of it. And the other one is the stretching.
Okay,
You have a bench. This is all online, and you can find out a little bit more on my website as well. And you can Google Paida Lajin, and Master Honchi Chao gives a very good insight of the actual modality, how it works. He's also added something very, very important. And I really enjoyed as well. We incorporate a very, very powerful mantra along with the exercise when we are doing the slapping on our meridians and the stretching. And it is called the Ho'oponopono Old Hawaiian mantra, which is "I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and
thank
thank you." So it's very important to do that, to have that dialogue with you, with yourself, when you're doing all this. Um, that just gives that additional cutting edge in terms of rejuvenating, in terms of neutralizing, in terms of harmonizing and unblocking. Because my teacher also said, um, we don't like to use the word disease. We call it blockage because with the word disease, there are so many different variables and different Latin fancy words, different cancers, different this. We just we just categorize it as a blockage where the chi is not flowing, and when something is not flowing and it's stagnant, it causes pain. Okay, so let me use this arm as an example. At the moment, I don't have any pain, but I can go looking for trouble. Okay. Just because there's no pain, it doesn't mean that there's no issues. So, by doing this, I can look for areas where there is suddenly some kind of discomfort. And I can, something that is regressed, it kind of begins to surface. So, that's when I was saying earlier in terms of prevention. So if you do this on a regular basis, there's a military term attached to another slapping method, and it is called carpet bombing, where basically we'll just do this whole area. So we just slap all this area, the back, the arms, the legs, and you will see the amount of sha that will be omitted. And the colors give a description as well what's happening. For example, if you get some unusual white patches appearing, that could indicate some kind of fungus in your body. So there is a lot of information about this online as well, and we do have on Facebook social media, we do have a beautiful group that people can join and exchange their results, and it's fantastic way of engaging with other people with particular complaints.
So when you were learning, did you take specific classes? I know you showed the book. Does the book have any of it
Yes,
in?
yes. I think one of the most important things is to join a workshop, okay? Because that way the interaction between the individuals is very, very healing as well. So the workshop can accelerate the healing process. So someone does this for you, and you do it to them, and vice versa. And there's like sometimes 3 4 people, someone's doing their shoulders, their legs at the same time. If you can visualize that, so there's one person that, but 3 or 4 people um, that are sort of slapping on certain meridians, which is blocked, to to open up the
Yeah,
channel,
because
like, yeah.
what my friend Cynthia was doing was behind her leg, behind her
Mhm.
knee.
Yeah.
And then when I went online, you could see people standing and other people slapping
Yes.
behind the knees.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. I mean, there's additional things you can do to accelerate the healing. Of course, there's these mantras that, the Hawaiian one, from my take, is wonderful. Also, breathing is crucially important. What I do, I breathe from the nose and I keep it in the lungs, and I hold it there and I do that.
oh,
So
okay.
that also helps aid the acceleration of the healing as well. Yeah. And also, in preparation, I always say peace begins with your plate. Be a conscious eater as well, because if you start putting foods that are relatively detrimental to your health, any kind of modality, because there's many modalities out there, but the results will not it will take longer to get positive results. So be conscious of what you're putting in your mouth as well, as a
Right.
source of fuel.
So what is the origin of this? Is it Tibetan? Is it Indian?
Yes,
Is it
it's a
Korean?
combination Tibet Chinese,
Okay.
and it sort of came into the West, and it went into the mainstream. Like I said, there's a lot of information out there, and like I said, we are here as well, to support. So if anybody wants to raise any questions or concerns, we are very happy to be of service.
So okay, so as I said, I mean, when I saw what Cynthia was doing, my first thing was like, I'm not going to hit myself.
Mhm.
But then I tried it and it actually feels good. Isn't that
Absolutely.
weird?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what it does, it energizes the area, and especially when you work on your back as well, because I say that the spine is like an antenna, so
Yes.
your base to your crown. Once the kundalini, the chi energy, starts to vibrate in a certain frequency, it will just help aid this whole process, heal so much better, and it really harmonizes, and it's very soothing and very, very calming. So it's and it's doing it on so many different layers, not just the physical, the emotional, and the mental, because that these things are not very visible at the beginning. And I've been a great advocate of Louise Hayes over the years, the late great, and she was saying things like, we hold a lot of anger and bitterness and betrayal and all sorts of things of emotions within our organs. So this method, this modality, helps to release these, which is regressed, and it begins to surface. And yeah, I mean, seeing is believing, and you will just get better and better. So I've been doing it for like the last 5 years.
Wow. So
And
just how do you do it daily, or do you mix up what you do one day you do
well,
it?
yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, you can spend, it depends on the severity of what it is that you're trying to achieve. I mean, from a preventive point of view, it's nice to spend at least an hour a day, because that also helps you with your meditation. It just helps you to become more focused in life. So even if you look at this as an investment, it doesn't actually cost you anything. It's simple, it's effective, it's organic, it's non-invasive. So it ticks many boxes.
Right.
So it's like, I would like to know why you wouldn't be inspired or motivated to want to do it in the first place, provided it's got good presentation, which it has. It's very well laid out, and like I said, I'm here as well, and Carmen Filippo, and we have an online group as well
Oh,
that
okay.
people can join and ask loads of questions.
See, this is the thing is if you live on your own, but I think these times right now that we're going through, the idea of being grounded in our body and letting the angst, the fear virus that's been out there, letting that out of our systems because we really are in the soup of it. There's no escape anymore. It's a pressure cooker. And so doing physical things seem to, whenever you align your chakras and do physical things and let that angst out, it creates this more vibrant connection to yourself and your body.
Absolutely.
We came here to be embodied, so this isn't the time to blast out and just be out of body. This is the time to be in and clear it so that we can hold more light.
Well, that's the name of the game, and like Jeff Cloud would say, it's the only game in town. And this process of using this technique called Paida Lajin, I mean, the biggest testimony, I mean, what really is crystallized in terms of what I achieved, I managed to open my pineal gland. And this, if by the way, for the record, Kathy, if we were scheduled to do an interview 1st of December.
Right.
Now, the ego has been parked. 1st of December, I was on an operating system of 5% awareness.
Wow.
Something extraordinary happened in the last week or two. I've managed to activate the embodiment of truth. So that means that my pineal gland is open, and with the word truth, I've been able to harmonize, neutralize, and unblock. And that's we're talking about the physical, emotional, mental, etheric, and the spiritual. And when truth is absent, or if untruth is present, I'll say it again. When truth is absent, or if untruth is present, the physical body will give messages in the form of disease. I don't like using the word disease. I would rather use the word blockage, illness, imbalance, or lack of harmony. But when you take full ownership, like Edgar Tolle said, to be still, replace the ego with your soul, then your observation viewpoint changes. And when you declassify your pineal gland, you have an X-ray vision. Now I enter the zone from a perspective of I don't do what the ego used to do and say, you're good, you're bad, I'm sweet, I'm sour. So what I've done, I balanced everything up. So even my galactic feminine, my galactic masculine, and up here, I'll go down a little bit. I've managed to
Okay.
connect to my Akashic records. Okay, so I'm able to um, download and upload information if and when desired. So
Yippee.
I, I'm really, these are really exciting times for me, and I thank you for this opportunity, because now I'm super conscious. I used to be conscious, now I'm super conscious in terms of the markers that I'm leaving behind. And what do I mean by that?
Okay.
Well, I leave an energetic impression everywhere I go. It's not just doing this, even everything has an org. I mean, it's the way everything's organized is conscious. So being aware of that, I leave a very good energy, frequency, so that when people come in contact, without having to say anything, they feel uplifted.
Right. Right.
So, and I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
It's fabulous feeling.
That's the game. That's the game I think we're here to play.
Absolutely.
Is the upliftment of humanity. Basically, I feel my mission is to help as many people wake up to their divinity as possible, and that's the game. But can I put Sugar Bee's got a question about her some pain? Could I
Mhm.
put her thing up and see what you think about it? Sugar Bee,
Absolutely.
wait a second. We're right here. Here we go. I've been having a lot of pain in my joints where the thigh connects to the hip area. I've been limping big time. I guess my joints are losing the liquid that's in between that keeps it lubricated.
Now, pain is, I know this sounds a bit barbaric, but pain is actually a gift, because where the pain is, it's actually telling you where the problem area is. It will have other a little bit more sophisticated, complicated connections, because it could be an emotional, it could be a mental, could be a spiritual blockage as well. Because when I studied the origin of disease, there's past life issues involved in all this as well. But let's just keep it simple. So if you've got a pain here, let's say, or your hip, the best place to start is that area. And because there's two major organisms inside of you. One is called life, and I hate to use death because death is an illusion, but let's just accept that death exists. Death likes cold, life likes warmth. So to add as much heat as possible to that area will help aid the healing process. So it's essential to keep that area as hot as possible.
Ah,
So, and, and be the conscious observer of your pain. Talk to it. Work with your pain. I don't know what people in general are saying to themselves. Like, if I can bring Jeff Cloud, his day begins with gratitude. When he wakes up in the morning, he sort of showers himself with his hands like this, and he talks to his cells. Okay, so it's very important to connect yourself not on just a cellular level. I mean, there are many, many levels, aren't there? I mean, we're talking about under the energetic, the atomic level, the quantum level. So there are many, many levels that we have to connect ourselves with. So talking to yourself, being positive, being kind, being loving, um, is a fantastic place to aid healing. Yeah. And then gradually you can start stretching, because as we get older, we become less elastic. All right. So it's important to practice stretching so we bring back our elasticity as well. Squatting is very, very important. So I can then, I mean, it's very easy. I mean, all you do is sort of like get into that position where you're in that position, and it's very good. Squatting position is very, very important for your colon, which they say is the most toxic part of your body. Okay. And when we go for our number two, guess what? We're not in the squatting position. So when we're doing our poo poo, not everything is coming out.
ah,
So this is a very important area to look at. People who are constipated, for example, before you go to the toilet, be in a squatting position and just go up and down like this will help ease. And if people have got toilet problems, it's absolutely. I've got such great cures for people who've got prostate, for example. You just get a long stick. I know it sounds a bit barbaric, but I had a bit of a small prostate issue a few years back, and uh, sorry to be very graphic, but I was hitting my number two area for about 15 minutes for about a week. It went away.
wow.
So I didn't need to go on any kind of tablets or medication and stuff like that. So it's just amazing what you can do by just adding that pressure of doing things like this on those areas. But it's important to have a beautiful connection with yourself and try to understand that symbiotic relationship with the yin and the yang. It's like, I like to use this analogy: to understand the essence of something, you have to experience its opposite polarity. If I can use this example, in order to understand sweet, you have to experience sour. But
Yeah.
then you bring it into balance, you bring it into order, and things will begin to make more sense, you
Perfect.
know?
Well, that's why these ancient processes, they knew how to heal themselves. They also saw themselves as animals, human animals, rather than um, taking us out of that model where just take a pill, just or go to the doctor and get a tune up like your
Yeah.
car. um, and so that there's a lot more self responsibility and conscious grounding into your body that
Yes.
that happens when you do this, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Grounding is so, so important. Like what I do, I walk barefoot in the garden. So that the body is like a magnet as well. You pick up all the energies, and you release certain, if certain things are overactive, you find a way of releasing it. So it's very important to create that earth connection. And for me, it is one of the best medicines, to listen to the sound of nature, to
Beautiful.
connect with plants. um, and if you've got the luxury, and it's not really luxury, but I use the word luxury, to have that space where you can grow your own food, and to use your own energy, with your own beautiful consciousness, to grow your own vegetables. Again, that source of biofuel, that the energy you're putting into it, that consciousness, that loving energy, will pay dividends. You
Right.
know, it's going to really uplift you.
So,
Yeah,
is there a specific thing that you would recommend for fear or to get grounded? Because it seems like everything in
yeah,
my experience is a workaround. It's like you go to
absolutely.
do something and it's like, okay, that didn't work. So you have to keep sharp enough to figure out a workaround. But eventually, sometimes it's so exhausting, and then the fear or the sadness or the frustration sets in. So
The
is there
best,
anything you
well,
recommend for that?
from my perspective, the best currency that you can use to bring about great change in yourself is to give unconditionally, and to feel the pain of another sentient being.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
and that can be an animal as well. All right, animals are great healers, and Jeff does this so, so well. He puts himself out, stray dogs, and
Right.
he's does incredible work. So what I find is, when you reach out diligently, kindly, and kindness, and you start feeling the pain of other people, whether it's an emotional or a physical or an energetic pain, and you're there in that I am presence, and you lift them, then it's going to have a positive knock-on effect on you as well. Okay, so I urge everybody to go out there, and be kind, connect, give
Hmm.
your hand, be of service to your communities, talk to people, smile more, hug people if you have to. For me, let me define what enlightenment is, so that
Okay.
I bring you closer to, not just hearsay with reference, because I made a very powerful statement today, reference to my pineal gland. For
Right.
me, my definition of enlightenment: when I go on an uncharted territory, somewhere that I've never been before, and I lock eyes with the so-called stranger, what do I see? I see myself. Okay. And how I treat people is a reflection of what's happening within myself.
Right.
Okay, because we live in a like Jeff says, we live in a holographic universe, and so we are projecting. Okay, what is it that we're projecting? Okay, and the other thing is, No two souls are the same. Okay, all souls are vibrating at a different frequency. Okay, so at the end of the day, my take on is to be unconditional, to be of service, to be kind, loving, and you know it's just you will feel enriched. I think it's one of the most rewarding things on planet Earth. I think there is nothing more uplifting than being kind, but being of service, and replacing the misery, the fear with love, and being a noble, kind example.
Right.
Uh, that's what's working for me. So that's my testimonial. I'm only sharing what's working for me because there are many different stories out there. So this is my story, and I, hand on heart, this is what I can say is what's keeping me in good stead. You know.
Perfect.
And by
Perfect.
the way, reference. Sorry, I was going to say reference to a trigger, and I'm sure we've all heard this before, and that it doesn't hurt to be reminded. When we're being triggered, it's because somebody is representing a part of you that needs attention,
Right.
right? So it's hollow, and its purpose is to become more wholesome. So my greatest teacher is also someone who's going to cause me some kind of pain, and my best friend is the person who's going to tell me the things that I don't want to hear because they're not manipulating me. Sometimes people come into your life, they tell you the things you want to hear because maybe there is a manipulative agenda behind it. you
Mm,
know that's becoming less, by the way, because the frequencies is is going higher. So your intention has to, you got to up your game.
right.
We're trying to define the origin of sickness here. If you don't raise your game, then the art of living is, yes, it's good to help, but don't kill yourself in the process. Give what you can afford to give in terms of your energy, but be not selfish, but be self-centered. Understand the essence of your own unique evolution first before trying to understand somebody else, because everything begins with self first.
Perfect.
So, like in the good book, it says know thyself. And because everything is within. The universe, the multiverse, the omniverse is within ourselves.
Right.
But I was going to say something very quickly. One of my ambitions is to create a new timeline,
Yep.
you know and to create a 0 point field whereby, you know um you see, I'm not one for saying good guys, bad guys, but we had a soul agreement to come here, and one of it was to remember, like David Icke said, we're an infinite being having a human experience. All right, now you get to a certain level of realization, I call it self, and then you invite God, crown, realization, and now you're a procreator. Visualization. Start visualizing yourself healthy. Picture yourself healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to say the fear mongers of our planet, a lot of them have been escorted, and now we are now beginning to take greater control and ownership,
Perfect.
and we know when there's a red flag. And so yeah, and I'm only round the corner if anybody wants to reach out. There's so many elevated beings on the planet right now that you can reach out to.
Well,
Uh,
the opportunity is to learn skills and be self-empowered. And
Absolutely.
what I wanted to share is my friend Omar put "Love Yourself," and Omar Fiazi has a show called Watchers Talk, and he's
Hmm.
a dear, dear, dear man. And he ends each show with reminding people to look at themselves in the mirror and tell themselves that they love themselves. So when you said that, it was, I'm sure he was cheering in the background. So, but I think what you're finding is there's more and more people taking their power back, not being not playing the victim role anymore, and they want to find each other and co-create this new world. And so I'm hoping that they go to your website, find out more about you, and see the way that they might be able to engage with you, um, to to um, to learn, because
Well,
this is examples, right? This is because the examples that we've had really don't create community.
absolutely.
Our historic examples have been a very few. I was having this conversation on Monday with someone. It's almost like we never got out of feudalism,
Hmm.
like that feudalist model of, there's only a few people on the top and the rest of us are all serfs. We thought the US and all the democratic countries were representative democracies, and that we had a say. But
Yeah,
historically, this is when we're going to have a say. That time, I feel, is almost like the Dark Ages, and we're going into the Renaissance now. So this is a time, take your power back, learn how to do these self-healing processes, qigong, stretching, um,
absolutely.
all of these, meditation, breathing. There's so
Mm.
many ways to bring joy back in your life, and you find yourself being like a little kid, laughing while you're doing it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, when we're talking about how do we raise our frequencies. Well, I like being creative. I like to sing, movement, gardening, and sharing authentic information. Something that hasn't been compromised. When I am of service, unconditionally, I'm not doing it for profit. The currency that I use is love, and when you are in your authentic self, people can't do enough for you.
Yeah.
It's when you go out there and you are of great service, and you're genuine and you're authentic. You know, people like they want to back. Barrett. Is there anything I can do for you? You've done so. I'm like, no, no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. So that is very empowering. Because you're getting a feedback, you're getting a biofeedback. And how does that make you feel? It's very energizing, it's very uplifting. So
Right.
when you're authentic and you're practicing truth, it's like Jeff would say, it's the only game in town.
That's right. Well, so I'm in the same boat. I've been doing this. This is my fourth year. I don't charge for it, and my goal is to help people be empowered to know what they can do, or to find resources. They may already be in a service-based business, and I do think business is one of the ways that we can turn all of this around, because if it's good for the business, it could be good for everyone.
Absolutely. And I operate on a source called open source, in the sense that you know it's not like where somebody needs to lose something in the process.
Right. A
Okay. you
win-win.
know it's like get both parties can gain.
Right.
And the real currency for me is energy, energizing. And I think the biggest precious metal, people talk about gold. I think this is gold. When you can put your hand on something and turn it into something that is of real value. Because when you get to know me better, Kathy, I mean, this is the first time we're having this beautiful dialogue. I'm a value builder, not a value destroyer. I
Right.
don't believe in competition. You know, what does a value builder fundamentally, what does he fundamentally do? He can take a perceived value of something above and beyond the price. How? By saving money, time, and energy, and qualifying the person for the right product or service. you know, because a lot of people out there are a little bit confused. They don't know sometimes what's best for them. And I tried my best to empower them to become, um, you know, independent, so they become more self-reliant and on themselves, so that they can grow as a unit. And this is how we're going to do when it comes to building new communities. You can see how the old is falling apart, and you know, we're all raising our game. And I'm now in the process of, and this is something I'm quite happy to work with you, Kathy, if you're interested.
Uh-huh.
I'm This has never been done apparently. I'm happy to design a five dimensional logo.
Hmm.
And now, what is a five-dimensional? First of all, um, nobody has the right to own it. It's a bit like truth. Nobody has the rights to own truth. It's for everybody. So it creates a new benchmark, okay?
Mhm.
And that's the name of the game. And so when we have this open source where we get everybody working together from a non-evasive way in terms of the word competition and ego, and say I'm better than you, blah blah blah, you will see a phenomenal change. The consciousness of the planet will up its game immediately. Um, yeah,
Well, I think the planet is upping its game with or without us, but the opportunity for us to assist is at a different level. Plus, we're going into the age of Aquarius. We're eventually going to be telepathic.
exactly.
We're already. I always was empathic, but everyone's going to be empathic soon, and there's going to be a lot of confusion about the change of perspective on the programs that
Yeah,
we embraced, our parents embraced and taught us, and they didn't know any better. But we came to not break them, but shatter them, I guess,
yeah,
because they do not serve. They're not equitable. There's no love in them. It's a win-lose
yes,
environment. So,
yeah.
do you have any insights into? I mean, when you talk about truth, I think that's what alchemy has been called, because the alchemists knew what was in the ethers and how this system all worked, and then they were able to work with it, just like the indigenous can walk through walls, and the Tibetans have can use sound and light and do rainbow bodies. I mean, there's all
Absolutely.
sorts of
Yeah,
information.
I mean, Colin gives a lot of insight to that as well, to, you know, because the soul is projecting this hologram,
Right.
and without this, I call it a biological computer, the soul would not be able to grow. So it's using this vessel in order to, because it's a biofeedback machine. So for thousands or eons, it needed some kind of Wi-Fi connection, which I call cosmic energy.
Okay.
Okay? So we've been deprived of that. So that's why you see my understanding of like pyramids and things like that. It's like a receiver
Right.
and a transmitter. So this restoration is taking place as we speak, the ethers and so forth. So and what's happening to our bodies? I'm sure, Kathy, you've heard it, and many people have heard it. We're becoming less carbon orientated
And
and
more
becoming more
crystal.
crystal aligned. So we are all, and not just the human race, Mother Earth and all its inhabitants are going up higher. And the invitation is there. If some people are reluctant, it's perfect. You know, it's not. I'm not in the business of saying you know like what I'm sharing, if it's my mantra is like this, Kathy, for if it's important for us to converge our energies together, and if it's important for the spiritual evolution, for our spiritual evolution, I can't thank the universe enough. And if it's not, I can't thank the universe enough. So what does that mean? It means that we are anchored into the present moment. So whichever way we look at it, left or right, if it happens, thank you. If it doesn't happen, thank you. That is when all the other timelines collapse and you are in that now present
Present.
present moment. And that's one of the things that has done wonders for me. And I can hand on heart say, this is Baret of the new. If we had that connection 1st of December, my operating system wasn't quite up to par.
I,
But this particular version,
I'm sure
it
it,
was divine hand,
yeah.
and I thank the universe for our connection, because you are a phenomenon. We're all working together, and we're
So,
bringing the messages. And
yeah. Well, the thing is that I think that the energies that we're going through, I mean, it used to be that it's almost like you're in the ocean of it. And sometimes you're swimming like this, and sometimes you're riding the wave. And so this past 3 weeks, it's been amazing. And but it has been, for me, I'm clearing a lot of sadness still. There's a lot of stuff still coming out, and I'm finding myself, I'm talking like right now, I'm very present right here, but sometimes when I'm working with somebody, or I'm in a conversation, I'm here talking to you, and then I'm also observing. And that
yeah,
didn't happen a year. Well, it probably happened 2 years ago when I started being the observer, not in any judgment. It's just you can feel your field, your awareness field, being activated with sight. So I don't know if you're feeling that as well. Are you?
yeah, definitely, definitely. It's like no, I mean the changes is unprecedented, and when we look back, um, I mean, my understanding from the Akashics is that when Atlantis fell, it's because it had a huge ego. Whereas now, the way forward for humanity right now is neutrality. Okay? Because when the truth really comes out, there's going to be a lot of angry people.
Yeah.
All right. That's why I know my position, and my position is to hold the energy, so that that heart centered energy, so that we stay calm, because the temptation is there. And I must say, I've been fallible at times. I mean, when you hear of ghastly stories,
Yes.
um, you do want to lash out a little bit. You do want to go out and, you know, but that's not going to fix the problem. Okay. And I feel that the way to fix the problem is, like, you've got to work with yourself. You got to put that message of love, and all the other timelines is collapsing. And death is an illusion.
Right. Right.
And if most people understand that, the fear diminishes.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's powerful. I mean, I've had near death. I got electrocuted in water, and I know, I was like seconds away, and I was fighting for my life. I've been in situations where, yeah, it's just a split second, but I've been sort of in and out. I've had transmental experiences, transmental meditation, and and the outside of yourself is an omni experience,
Right.
where omni means to be here, there, everywhere, all at the same time, and you are
Yes.
everything. And it's something to marvel. It's not something which is negative
Right.
at all. If people begin to harness that connection, then that disconnection diminishes, and it harmonizes, it neutralizes, and then we will hold that energy. And you know what? The powers, I choose my words very, very carefully. The powers that were will hand the keys back to where it belongs.
Right.
Because it is a bit of a hijack situation. You know, we've been under the umbrella of this. I mean, there's all sorts of names. I don't want to go in too much into
Right.
labels.
Right, and we're almost to the end of this. Well, we can do that more, or we can do that ourselves.
Yeah.
What I wanted people to understand is that there are resources for you as you go through all of this. There
Yes.
is an opportunity to make sense of it all, because it's going to seem where during the lockdown, we got to slow down a little bit. We got to really think about if this invisible enemy was going to kill us, if we were ready to go. So we got to be more centered in our health and maybe look at our values and really look at ourselves. But we're coming into another big field of energy, maybe the end of March
Hmm.
and April, that's going to start disclosing things that people just won't know about, and they'll be disoriented. And so why I wanted Barret to be on, and Colin, and if Omar wants to come on, I mean, I want resources for people so that you have a way to process this, because there is no fault in all of it. This is all divinely designed. Not that we understand it, but it is divinely designed for our growth and for us to be capable of holding more light.
Absolutely.
And that's what that, and we are so powerful. This, I call it a hologram. Right now you
Yeah.
and I are in a hologram together, but I have my own little hologram.
Mhm.
And so we can take that back and
Sure.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
and play with it, and be creative, and dance and sing, and find ways to engage others in love and in kindness, that isn't the Darwin survival of the species model. It's the total opposite of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Kathy.
So,
Well,
well,
yeah.
thank you everybody for
Thank you.
coming, and thank you, Garrett, Barret. Barret, we'll have to talk again, because I really would love to know more about what you're doing
Mhm.
there, so that people could model
Absolutely.
it. I think there's Michael Tellinger has the Ubuntu work
Hmm.
in South Africa.
Yeah.
There's little pockets of what you're doing, of people getting back to nature without hardship, that they don't have to be caveman, go back to prehistoric times to enjoy a simple, loving life. And so
Thank
I
you.
hope you'll come back and explain more.
It'd be an honor. Anytime. Anytime.
Yes, yes. And thank you everybody for coming. And please, please, please share this if you think that this exposure to Barrett's work will help others. So
Thank
thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you.
you. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye bye. Thank you.